Hi everybody, welcome once again to Out of the Ordinary into the Extraordinary. I'm Robert Taylor, coming to you on WMTV5 from our studios at the beautiful Grosse Pointe War Memorial. And if you frequently view the show, we know we try to bring you folks who are exceptional in the realm of the metaphysical, the healing arts and the creative arts. And today we have two great guests, great healers themselves. They are from the Creative Health Institute. It gives me pleasure to welcome Stephen Gibb and Jim Carey to the show. Stephen?
Well, thank you.
Jim?
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course you were saying earlier you're actual relation of the Bee Gees.
Yes. Eighth cousin. I don't have their money and I can't sing, but I'm related to them.
That's amazing. So, welcome, and, short notice. And the Creative Health Institute locally is in Union City, is that correct?
Correct.
Right here in Michigan?
Yes.
And where is that geographically?
Well, it's about halfway between Chicago and Detroit, along the lower edge of Michigan.
So up sort of around Kalamazoo?
Actually 30 miles south of Battle Creek.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And you were telling me earlier a great story, Jim, about how the Creative Institute came about.
Oh, well, Dr. Ann Wigmore founded Creative Health Institute. Originally it was Hippocrates Institute of the Midwest. She had founded Hippocrates Institute in Boston and another one in California that's currently called Optimal Health Center.
Wow.
When they split up the franchises. But Dr. Ann grew up with a grandmother who was an herbalist, and the closest thing to a doctor within 100 miles of their part of Lithuania. And she was just too sick and weakly to emigrate to America with the folks. You know, she couldn't pass the export or the export physical. So until she was a teenager, she lived with Granny, and she was 7, 8 years old during World War I. So at that age, she's treating wounded soldiers, amputated limbs, etc., and she's doing all with herbs and poultices. So when she came to America, she hadn't been here 2 years, and she started eating the American diet. Oh, and they ate very simply there in Lithuania too, of course.
Yeah.
She started eating standard American diet, started gaining weight, not feeling so well, but got run over by a wagon.
Wow.
And broke both ankles and got gangrene. Well, doctors, gangrene, that's simple, you amputate. She said no. And she cured herself by eating out of the garden, finding herbs that looked something like what Granny had. Mm-hmm. So as she got into her late 40s, she came down with colon cancer. This would bring us up to the early 1950s. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, if they did a colon cancer in 1950, say, well, make out your will and go home, and you've got a year or two. Well, she started rooting through the alleys and vacant yards in Boston where she lived and looking for herbs and looking for things that would heal her. And basically, she experimented on stray cats and dogs. She'd bring in sick ones and see what they ate, what they followed naturally. In the course of doing this, she ended up with a naturopathic doctor degree. And in the course of doing this, she healed her colon cancer.
Amazing.
And what she came up with as a program was, well, you've probably heard of raw living foods or raw fooders.
Yeah. That's
the foundation of the program. It's raw living foods. We don't cook anything. We don't eat any animal products. It's all vegan.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, she found that it's more than just what you eat. It's your whole lifestyle. So there's a detoxification part of the program, internal cleansing. We have to get these toxins out that we've been accumulating all our lives. And
not just from the food.
Right.
Right. Some of the toxins.
Yeah. Stephen told me once that 80% of the toxins in our body we've inhaled. Mm-hmm. Wow. Is that right? 80%?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Stephen, earlier you were saying that this is something which is already becoming very evident to everybody. The U.S. of A., despite its material advancement, is the second most unhealthy country in the world.
Yes.
And Michigan, number one obese state.
Yeah.
So what does that say?
Well, it doesn't say a lot. You know, my friends used to tell me that, if you talk to Stephen, he'll tell you not to eat any food that has a label on it. And that's still my motto. Is, you know, I used to say if you can't pronounce the words in the label, don't eat it. Now I say if it has a label, don't eat it. Okay. And so that's what it boils down to. We need to eat whole foods, and we need to get back to the garden, you know, back to nature, pulling our foods. Because when we go to the grocery store, even though we're buying organic, I have to ask myself, what does organic mean? What it means is, first of all, 25% of it's not even organic. We were being lied to.
Oh.
And then the other food has been handled, irradiated. For example, a lot of organic foods are watered with city water. Well, what does city water have in it? Chlorine. Now we're stripping the probiotics and the sulfur off from the foods, or it's grown in a greenhouse, et cetera, et cetera. So our food quality's gone way, way down, even when we eat organic. So we really need to get back to the garden.
Yeah. Well, somebody once said Popeye today would need 200 cans of spinach to take care of Pluto. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because as a people today, we eat twice as much food as we did at the end of World War the end of World War II. And I asked myself why, and it's we have to in order to get the same amount of nutrients because our physiology hasn't changed. So that's why we're 66% obese as a nation.
So especially those folks that are eating it, we won't mention some of the big corporation fast food places, they're not getting any kind of nutrition. In fact, they're getting a lot of chemicals and stuff.
Well, yeah, obviously we're not designed to eat meat, but when we go take it to that step, the problem with the meat or the foods out there is the poisons. It's not the meat that kills us, even though we embrace a living food diet. When I coach people, if they want to eat meat, I tell them this, go buy grass-fed meat.
Yeah.
Because you often ask yourself, why is it my aunt or uncle lived to be 90 years old on the farm? That's exactly why. They were eating off the farm. They were eating everything grass-fed.
Yeah.
It didn't have growth hormones, antibiotics, and pesticides in it. So it's the poisons that kill us.
And I read a figure that the average cow could be injected with up to 2,700 different.
It's amazing. It's just it's insurmountable.
Yeah.
There's a very interesting video called "Super Size Me."
Yep.
And you've heard of it.
Great.
It's great. It's well worth tracking down on the internet. It's well worth the $20. Yeah, he lived on McDonald's for 30 days. It almost killed him.
Yeah.
And the lettuce and tomato on the burger kept him alive, I think. I think that's the case for a lot of Americans. The lettuce and tomato on that burger is what they're living on, what their body is.
Now, a lot of people may not want to live permanently on a raw food diet. That's pretty austere. But if somebody's sick especially, and they at least start out with what you're saying, that would be a huge help, right?
It would. For example, I had a lady come to me 4 weeks ago, 78 years old. I now call her 78 years young. She had high blood pressure, known as hypertension, 180 over 95, 3 medications, and arthritis. 2 weeks later, she walked out the door after doing our program at 120 over 64 and left her cane behind and no medications. It just works. You do the right things and the right things happen. Yeah. The body's very forgiving and resilient, and we need to create an alkaline environment inside the body. When we're eating these fast foods or Hostess Twinkies or Ding Dong out there, as they're singing to us in the shopping malls and the grocery stores, we become acidic and we never become alkaline. And that's how the body rebuilds cells. So our program shows you and allows you to immerse yourself so you can become alkaline, and magical things happen.
I even have a water purifier at home that separates the alkaline and the acidic in the water.
Oh, really?
And so you drink the alkaline, you take the acidic, which is poured out through a tube, and you feed that to your plants.
Perfect.
Yeah. So when we're alkaline, immune, healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a cycle. If you look at the word breakfast means breaking the fast. When we go to bed at night, hopefully we don't eat 3 hours before we go to bed.
Yeah.
Our body, because it's not getting any food, starts to rebuild the energy within. Imagine you had yourself a battery inside of you, and you charge that battery up. And the next day, that battery helps you walk and talk and think and digest solid food. So during the course of the night, our body's supposed to become acidic. And on a pH scale, we're supposed to end up at about 5.8, 7 being neutral. And then as we start putting food into our body, during the day, we're rebuilding ourselves. So we have this beautiful circle of 24 hours of building and cleansing, building and cleansing. The challenge with the United States today is no one's doing the building. We're simply detoxing. We're always acidic around there. So when people call me up and ask me what's going on, I ask them about their lifestyle or their diet, if you will. It's always acidic. And as soon as we put green food into their diet, they become alkaline, everything goes away. The body's very resilient.
And you know what I found in the supermarket? Probably the cheapest vegetables are like the kale and,
are the healthiest ones.
The healthy ones are the least expensive.
Yeah. We're now finding on now finding on the Living Foods diet that we need more emphasis on the greens.
Yeah.
it's been around for 50 years. Dr. Ann developed this in the 50s. But as we become more sophisticated in our research and our testing methodologies, we're filling in the weak spots because it's not been the perfect diet.
Yeah.
But as we fill in the weak spots, we're finding more greens. And as we fill in the weak spots, we're finding that we're more and more just back to nature. And how would man have lived 10,000 years ago?
Yeah.
Even
That's what our
500
bodies,
years ago.
Yeah.
That's what our bodies were designed for.
Or even when I was growing up, my mom and dad had a fantastic little garden.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you would get that live food right out of the backyard.
Nothing like a tomato right off the vine, was there?
That's exactly right. Yeah, we have a guy, in fact, we'll give him a plug, Bob. Bob's garden. Bob still has a garden just down the street from me. So I was telling Bob, if you have any excess, I'll be the first in line to buy some of your veggies. Now, we want to show a visual of Jim here. We have an amazing visual. And this was you how many years ago? Not that many years ago.
4 years ago.
Okay. Yes, it is the guy in the white T-shirt. And it's not digitally messed up.
No, it was a straight shot. It was film shot.
Yeah.
I have been, at that point, I'd been vegetarian for 2 years, and I'd lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
That was the new improved me.
You look amazing.
I weighed 240 in that photo.
Let's see that one again. We've got to see that again.
That was me
That's
at
the old
240.
him, man. And this is the new you.
Yeah. I'm 180 now, and
Way
the
more
pound is
handsome.
still coming off. The pound is still coming off, just slower.
Yeah.
But see, the neat thing about what we're doing, it's a lifestyle choice. It's not a religion, it's not a cult, it's a lifestyle choice. I'm not a 100%er. Okay, when I come up to Michigan, when I hang out at the Institute, the pounds come off.
Yeah.
When I go home, I'm 95% raw.
Yeah.
But I'll go out with the boys occasionally.
Yeah.
And hoist a few pints.
Yeah.
And sometimes somebody takes me out to dinner. There might be a chicken involved.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a lifestyle. It's not
Yeah.
or pizza. Not so much chicken. It's been a long time since I did that. But cheese pizza, once in a while.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm 180 and not 170.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
But I'm so much healthier. So much happier.
You can tell.
better guy.
Listen,
Yeah.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I've met 2 or 3 other folks from your institute, is that your skin has a translucency about it.
Yeah, we call it the glow. Usually about 5 days into the program, and your skin is one of the most resilient parts of the human body, and it really comes back online fast. Because the skin is actually a process of elimination, but not under normal conditions. We're supposed to be eliminating through our bowels. And the skin ends up, because we plug our bowels up so much, our skin's an emergency backup system, if you will. So when we're eating on the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which is very, very sad, and the Happy Meals, and we don't know who has that, but anyways. Then the skin finally gets relief because we get alkaline and our body's not using the skin to offset all the toxins. So the skin can go back to its normal, and that's where the glow comes from.
I see a lot of people with also, the acne and stuff. And, of course, you would go to your dermatologist. He's trying to give you creams, get rid of your acne, but it's pretty obvious to me it's something going on internally.
Exactly. It's treating it from the outside rather than the inside.
Sometimes as people are going through the program, they'll develop acne again.
Really?
They're detoxing through the skin, but it'll pass shortly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you said you're a hygienist. Is that
I'm a natural hygienist.
Yeah.
And what that means is that I fast, true water fasting, such as Jesus, Moses, Buddha, Gandhi, etc. And it's basically, total wellness boils down to 2 things. It's extremely simple. If anyone gets anything out of this program, it's this. It's building and cleansing. Building is a living food diet. Okay, that's our foundation. That's the way God told us we're supposed to eat. If you look biblically, God told us 74 times we're supposed to fast. Water fasting, not juice fasting, but water fasting. So twice a year, I'll go somewhere and I'll lay down for 14 days and drink nothing but water. So my analogy is this. If you married your wife and you moved into a home, brand new home, just built it, and you never cleaned it, how long would you live there? Not very long.
Yeah.
So this is our house. So it's building and cleansing throughout our life. Paul Bragg, when he was 16, acquired tuberculosis, and his father sent him to a famous doctor in Switzerland. And in 2 years of fasting him and putting him in the sunshine and feeding him living foods, he beat tuberculosis.
Wow.
And he vowed to promote wellness for the rest of his life. Well, Paul Bragg died at age 96 in a water skiing accident. Can you visualize a man 96 years old And that's what he did. He fasted.
He was water skiing.
He was water skiing, and that was his lifestyle. He was a hygienist. He ate living foods, and he ate an 80-20 diet. He ate a little bit of fish and some other things, and 20% was living food, and then he fasted.
Yeah.
He lived to be 96.
When I was looking to change my lifestyle to get from 240 to something, and I wasn't healthy. I mean, and I was military. I was very healthy at one point. As I was looking to improve that, I started researching, and I also have a PhD in applied computer technology, so I'm pretty good at looking stuff up. And one of my criteria is, what did the founder of the program die from? Like Paul dies at 96, water skiing accident. Dr. Ann Wigmore was 83 years old, and she died of smoke inhalation fighting a fire in her apartment.
At 83.
At 83. Bucket of water beside her on the floor, another bucket in the bathtub, and the water's still running.
Norman Walker, 118.
Yeah, Norman, now he's a famous, I was thinking about him. He was the one that wrote the books especially about the colon, being the sewage system of your body, right?
Absolutely, yeah, it's a very important part.
Yeah.
But we have to learn not to force the body and address the body as a whole. A lot of programs are out there, they're telling you to do a liver cleanse or a kidney cleanse or a colon cleanse. And although it's important to clean and cleanse those things, we're slapping God in the face by saying, oh, I'm going to go do this because this is what's wrong. And I have to ask myself, when we go to a naturopath and they say something's wrong with your liver, is that the symptom or is that the cause? See, we don't know. So we need to just get out of the way and let the body heal itself.
Yeah. And it is an amazing healing mechanism.
It is, and look at the animals when they get sick. What do? They go lay somewhere and they dry fast. They just lay down until they get better.
Yeah. Or as you say, Ann Wigmore was watching those sick animals and intuitively picking out the foods that they needed to heal themselves.
You talked about cleansing. I get a kick out of it. I watch the media, and the detox diet, the energy diet, the internal cleansing. And it's like, we do that because it's all part of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just internal cleansing. It's not just wheatgrass juice, which we use. It's not just raw foods. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what Steve vocalizes so well.
Now,
because
Steve,
we teach people. I'm sorry, but,
no, go ahead.
but we don't. We're not a spa. You don't go there and we pamper you for 2 weeks and you're healed. No, we teach you about internal cleansing. We teach you how to do tasty raw food preparation. We're an educational institute. We're a school, not a spa, not a health clinic. We're a school, and you learn how to take care of yourself and why, as Stephen is saying here on the show. This happens, this happens, this happens, and people are like, I never knew that. They never taught that in hygiene class. No, even the American Center for Disease Control says that 93% of all Americans are health illiterate.
Yep.
And for 28 years, we've been trying to help people with that.
Well, look at the amount of time that a doctor will spend learning about nutrition at medical school.
Not very often.
Yeah.
Not very much.
Yeah.
Actually, nutrition is something that, you send them down the hallway to the nutritionist. They put them on a 2,000 calorie a day diet. That's it. That's what a doctor studies for nutrition. Yeah.
Well, listen, if somebody's interested, I know you were saying earlier, you can either do this in a home study course, or you can actually come and spend time at the Creative Health Institute. Is that correct? Yeah.
Right. The Creative Health Institute was founded 28 years ago by Don Hoy, and he became sick, and someone brought him Ann Wigmore's book, Why Suffer? And he started building wheatgrass trays and eating wheatgrass, and he got healthy, and he created the Wellness Institute. And then James came along, and his ingenious mind, he created the home course. And the home course is basically a way for someone to take our course out of its element, take it home on video or DVD, along with a fabulous manual, and learn how to incorporate this into your life. So
we actually have some visuals, both of the book, and we've got a visual there, a little bit of the manual. Now, the DVDs can have up to 32.
It's 32. I just remember, as we say down south, I just remember how many hours it is. It's probably 50, 60 hours of video. You'd have to come to the center for a month to get this much information.
Wow.
The book runs 250 pages of loose leaf. I mean, there's a lot of information there.
Yeah.
But when you come through this, you know your body. And the neatest thing about the videos is when you need inspiration, you got something to pop in the tape player.
Yeah.
And you're re-inspired.
Yeah. That's right.
We 20% of our shipments are outside the United States. And I also edit the newsletter. So between the two, I get lots of fan mail, if you will.
Yeah.
And the
I've got a lot of
videos
testimonies, I bet.
Oh yes, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And the videos just keep people inspired. I've been putting testimonies on the website. The Health Institute website is www.creativehealthinstitute.us, and the home study program is www.chi-diet, like chi for energy, CHI, Creative Health Institute. Yeah, it works on several of those. CHIdiet.com.
Give us those two again.
www.creativehealthinstitute.us and chi-diet.com. Just go to chi-diet, CHIdiet.com, because the link for Creative Health is right there on the homepage. They link back and forth to each other. What's the toll-free number, Stephen?
Toll-free number is 866-426-1213. And I coach and welcome people all day long, and that's what I do. I sit on the phone and I talk to people about their challenges. And it's anything from someone being completely curious to walking in, wanting to lose weight, to somebody with cancer, and everything in between. It just goes down, just to go down a little bit of the list. It's Alzheimer's and lupus and hypertension and cancer, And we see people, when they come and they do the right thing, they walk out the door without it.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah. So it makes sense?
It really does make sense.
Healing's physically, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We share that with people, and we just see miracles every week. That's why I got involved 4 years ago. It's like, it's not just helping people. It's one thing to help somebody when you're driving down Jefferson Avenue here. That's one kind of help. But it's something else when you see them change their lives.
We're going to get another. Let's get the visual again of Jim previously. This is a living
you
testament.
like that picture? Huh?
Yeah, here it is. Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. You're a sitting example of. And that's just in 4 years.
But then that's 4 years, and that's just the appearance. And yes, you're right. The visuals are important because that's what people see. What's important is what is done for me inside.
Yeah.
I'm happier. I'm brighter. I'm actually more spiritual. Be more alkaline. You become more right brain. More right brain. You're more spiritual. So I have a better relationship with God than I've ever had before.
Wow.
And I walk in the Spirit. I I ran into you 5 minutes later. We're doing a TV show 3 days later. My whole life's like this. So this every day goes like this. I got my oil change yesterday to come here. I spent an hour talking to the owner of the shop. I couldn't get away.
Yeah.
You see me coming in for a couple of years, and why are you always smiling? Why are you so happy? And why do I weigh 250 pounds?
Yeah.
I had the picture of my back seat.
Wow.
So he'll be there Sunday. His name's TJ.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hurting people out there.
There is.
Yeah.
They're basically lining up at the door. Eventually we're not going to have room for them.
Well, it's you see some really sad visuals of individuals who, especially people who live in poor neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They don't even have the opportunity to go buy vegetables.
No, they don't.
The only thing they can do is go visit those fast food restaurants and get
that, or they're given welfare, and those aren't good at a lot of the stores. They're buying junk food with them.
That's right. The home study program. We're donating this to churches and institutes. Anybody that even wants to think about doing some sort of a soup kitchen.
Yeah.
We'd be glad to help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you guys need to be in the nursing homes and the hospitals and.
Those are harder steps because now you have the traditional American medicine and traditional attitudes to deal with.
Yeah.
But church groups, food kitchens, soup kitchens, people that are independent of the government, people that can think for themselves and act for themselves and have the authority to act for themselves, we can help them now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can help them now.
We're seed planters,
Yeah.
I can go out there and find sick people all day, but it's easier to get someone to change their religion than it is the food they put in their mouth.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. So we just wait for them to come to us, and then we know they're ready. Yeah.
Well, and as you were saying earlier on, this is a diet that Jesus himself would have followed.
Actually, in Genesis 1:29, God laid it out. He said, "This is your fruit-bearing tree. This shall be your meat." This is it. This is in Revelation 22:2. This is Ezekiel 47. It's a theme all through the Bible, is living food. Think of the fig tree.
Yeah.
What did the hunter and gatherer do as he went out? He grabbed berries and fruit and figs and avocados. He didn't belly up to a table and eat a bunch of cooked food. And you don't see a deer in the woods saying, "Hey, honey, fire up the stove. We're going to have dinner." It just doesn't work that way. And the animal kingdom is basically vegetarian.
Yeah.
There's a few carnivores to offset, keep things equilibrium, but for the most part, it's a vegetarian, and that's the way we should look at the animal kingdom.
We found 150. Excuse me. We found 150 Dead Sea Scrolls so far. They all came from the Essenes. The Essenes were we see them in the Bible as the Nazarenes, okay, that drank no alcohol, ate no fruit of the vine. Well, they were raw living foodists, okay. The Israeli Department of Archaeology website, just found this last month, says that at the time of Jesus, Nazareth was an Essene settlement of 12 people.
Wow.
So Jesus had to be. We go through this thing was Nazarenes and Nazarites.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a word that was never used in the Greek was Nazarethian. Nazarenes and Nazarites were both Essenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's based on Edmund Sheckley's research.
Now, if anybody wants to, just some simple principles to follow, what would you recommend in terms of lifestyle?
Well, the first thing is to start your day off with water. Okay, lemon water, because you want to hydrate yourself.
Oh.
Often the standard American diet will tell you to drink 8 glasses of water, and they're absolutely correct because the foods you're eating are devoid of water and nutrients. But in a living food diet, of course, we drink a lot less water. So that's obviously number one. Of course, stay away from the dark colas, the poisons, aspartame, the artificial sweeteners, things like that. And get sunshine, get rest, get fresh air, sleep with your window open, drive with your window open, eat living foods as much as you can. And basically, just use common sense.
Sign up for our newsletter.
Beautiful tips.
Sign up for our newsletter, get a tip every week. It's all on the website.
Give us that website one more time.
CreativeHealthInstitute.us or ChiDiet.com.
And if you don't have a computer, you can always call here at the War Memorial 881-7511. And once again, we've had these great guests from the Creative Health Institute. It's right in Union City. If you're in a really sick condition, you might think about going and spending some time with them. And as they said, they have hundreds of testimonies of miracle cures. So I want to thank you all for joining us on Out of the Ordinary into the Extraordinary. And I think the fellows will agree, God is alive, magic is afoot.